'Tis the season to be jolly, of course, guys, and welcome back to the channel. We are back with a brand new video here today. Something a little different aside from my gameplays. Back with the collection video. As you can see, I'm dressed for the occasion, people, because it is that time of year, my favorite time of year, Christmas. And I wanted to showcase once again here on this channel this time. This is something I did for my other channel. I want to showcase you guys the Christmas movies that I have in my collection. Some are DVD, some are Blu-ray. I do have a few digital as well. I'll let you guys know, of course, that at the end of what I have here in store for you guys. Dressed for the occasion, got the Santa hat. This doesn't really fit my head as it used to, so it's a little tight on my head, but that's okay. Got the elf shirt on. Of course, Santa. I know him. He's coming. Guys, I can't believe we're already in December and the end of 2024 is around the corner. So I hope you guys do enjoy this video. All you have to do is hit the like button and let me know down in the comments, what is your favorite Christmas movie? Alright, so we're going to get started here, my friends. And the very first one on top of the pile, it is the classic Christmas favorites. Now, of course, this has 4 smaller movies in one. There's 4 discs, actually, so 4 little movies. We got the original Dr. Seuss, How the Grinch Stole Christmas animated one, excuse me. We also have The Year Without a Santa Claus, and that is one of my favorite movies. I actually just watched that one yesterday. If you haven't seen that one, highly recommend it to you. We have Frosty's Winter Wonderland, which I don't think I've ever seen. And Rudolph and Frosty's Christmas in July. Again, I don't think I've actually watched that one either, but I got a hold of these ones, so I could definitely watch those. And the animated Grinch one is about like 20 minutes long. You usually see that one on TV. I personally prefer the one with Jim Carrey. That is my favorite one. Let me know if you've seen any of those ones. And the next movie, highly recommend to have in your collection. I assure most of you have watched this, and this is highly one of my favorite all-time Christmas movies. I start it every year, and I end with it usually near my last Christmas movie I watch. And plus, I have to watch this at least 6-7 times. That is Christmas Vacation. Definitely a great one to watch. Really funny. The National Lampoon Vacation movies are usually a go-to of mine. I do prefer this one and Vegas Vacation, but when it comes to Christmas, definitely this is my go-to movie. And then speaking of Jim Carrey, we have A Christmas Carol. So this was an animated 3D movie. Definitely the way that they portrayed Jim Carrey in this one as Scrooge, but only that he played basically every other character in this movie. And, of course, Gary Oldman was in here, too. He played Bob Cratchit. And this movie alone, though, like, the graphics of this movie, the styles of their faces for the animations, they did really well with this one. If you haven't checked this one out, I highly suggest you get this in your collection. Now, most of these movies you're going to find on Disney Plus and other streaming services. That is totally fine. However, this is just what I'm showing you guys today for my collection. I wanted to redo this kind of video, something I had on the channel this time of year, last year, my old channel. And speaking about this shirt, can't forget Elfman, Will Ferrell, one of the classic Christmas movies. Makes me laugh every time I watch it. Love Elf. I can't not watch it. You know, it's like one of those movies where you just have to recite every single line. Well, that is, again, with Christmas Vacation, but Elf is one of those movies. So, let me know, are you a fan of the Elf movie? I definitely am. You can see it here. Another classic movie. Now, there's, I think, 4 or 5 of them, but preferably, I only like the first one, maybe the second one, and that is Home Alone. Of course, you leave your kid at home on Christmas, and he just tries to defend the house, you know. You never know what his dad did to earn that house so big, but of course, I did Google it recently. I can't remember off the top of my head, but of course, great movie. If you guys have this in your collection, you better watch it. Alright, and this is a movie that has a tradition to my family, and I continue continue that tradition with my wife. And of course, we do watch this every Christmas Eve before bed, and that is It's a Wonderful Life. It just happens to be part of the tradition that I like doing still. It comes in a black and white film or colored film, and it actually is a pretty good film too, because it just shows the aspect of what life would be like if you weren't born. And it also tells you it doesn't matter about how much money you have, it's all about the family. And especially during the holidays, you don't really need to focus on buying everything all the time. It just matters the most of who's with you during the holidays. So this movie is actually, it still holds a special place in my heart, and I just watch it every year at Christmas Eve right before bed. This is usually the last Christmas movie I watch, basically up until Christmas. And so I don't know where the third one is in my pile, but I'll come to it. So I got Santa Claus 1 and 2 here. Of course, Tim Allen, known for the Santa Claus series. Great movies. I did prefer the first, of course. The first one is the best one. Second one was okay. Third one was alright, but I do prefer the first one out of the 3 Santa Claus movies. Now, I have watched the Santa Claus series that they did on Disney Plus that came out, I believe, last year or year before. Might rewatch those actually, because they were actually pretty cool. He had his daughter in the show as well, who played his daughter in the show, so that was his actually real life daughter. And of course, the lady who played the principal, who became Mrs. Claus. So spoilers if you haven't seen it, but I'm sure most of you have. Another fun movie that I really like is Deck the Halls. Now, of course, this has Danny DeVito and what's his name? Matthew Broderick. So he was from Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Of course, this movie, a lot of fun in it, where they basically overdo each other for their house. Well, of course, Danny DeVito's character wants to see his house from space, so he's got to deck out his house. Kind of reminds me of Christmas Vacation when he puts all the lights on the house, but he just goes all out. He wants to see his house from space, but then he just kind of annoys everyone else in the neighborhood. But yeah, it's definitely a very fun movie to watch, especially this time of year. Another fan favorite of mine, and I'm sure most of you have watched it, is another animated film. It has Tom Hanks in it, and it is Polar Express. Now, this is a really good one. I might have to watch this later this week. Haven't watched it yet this year. There's one kid in this movie who has a punchable face. If you know what I mean, you know what I mean. But this movie is actually pretty good. I didn't really like it at first, but then once I kind of watched it more and more over the years, I actually didn't mind it. I never owned it specifically, because my grandma had it in her collection, so I got to borrow it all the time from her, but then eventually, come down. I just got this, I think, last year or year before to add to my collection. Like I said, there are some movies I don't have physical. I do have a few digital, and I'll let you guys know in a bit what those are. So, I think I have, 3 copies of Frosty the Snowman, because I have this one. There's also Frosty in the other one. And then I have another set of movies that might have Frosty in it. So I think I have a couple editions of Frosty, but I kind of like the cover of this one, the outer cover. So this is, of course, Frosty the Snowman. This was the 45th anniversary edition. I like Frosty the Snowman, don't get me wrong, but he's not my personal favorite Christmas character. Of course, I like, Elf. I also like Rudolph. But, Frosty, I don't know, I just never really clicked in with Frosty that much. I like the song and stuff, but just watching the movie just wasn't really my cup of tea. And back with Jim Carrey, of course, the Grinch, the actual version of the Grinch I like. Now, I know they did the edition with Benedict Cumberbatch, but in my opinion, Jim Carrey is the Grinch. This is hands down one of my favorites. I did watch this on Netflix the other day, even though it's on there, and I do have it on Blu-ray, but that's okay. You can never go wrong with this one. Grinch is great. And one thing I realized as I get older, Grinch didn't actually hate Christmas. He just hated the way people treated him, especially this time of year. If you're out shopping, or if you're at a restaurant, or if you're just out anywhere, just be nice to someone. There's no need to be so rude to someone out in the street or whatever, especially this time of year. Like, you don't know what's going on in their lives. Just be nice, you know? I mean, I can't force that on people, but I'm just spreading the message, you know? And back to Santa Claus, here's the third one that was in the pile. This one was okay, though, because it did have Jack Frost. So, then again, like I said, the first Santa Claus movie is nonetheless my personal favorite. I'm about halfway through my pile. If you have seen any ones in this pile so far, let me know, of course. Which one is your favorite movie? We have Fred Claus. This has Vince Vaughn and Paul Giamatti. So, I've only seen this a few times. This is actually pretty funny because where Vince Vaughn's character, he's brothers with Santa, but then he doesn't really believe in Santa, and he doesn't, like, believe the hype and everything, but then he basically has to save his brother's job. He has to save Santa and basically kind of get everything back and running, because also Kevin Spacey's in this movie, and he plays like some like government guy who's about to shut down the North Pole, basically. So it is kind of funny. This one, I've seen it only a couple times, but when I saw it on TV one day, I'm like, okay, I'll add this to my collection. Most of these movies I did get off Amazon, and you can find them cheap. Canadian prices, like I got them under like $10, most of them, so, and or Walmart, or just gifts as well. This is a classic movie. I've only seen it a few times. Of course, who's in this one? Bing Crosby and Danny Kaye. I mean, two classic guys who sing Christmas carols. And of course, White Christmas is the title of the movie. So we all know that scene from Christmas Vacation where Clark basically freaks out, and then he mentions Danny F and K. So, and Bing Crosby. So here we go. And then, kind of an adaptation of A Christmas Carol. We got Bill Murray's Scrooged. I've only seen this a couple times on TV. I've actually never fully watched it, I don't think, either. So I just wanted to add that to my collection because why not? Like, I like Christmas Carol, so we got this one. I got 3 different styles of A Christmas Carol. So we saw the Jim Carrey one, we got the Scrooged one, and I have another one to come in this pile. So again, Frosty the Snowman, Rudolph, and Santa Claus is Coming to Town. 3 classic movies right here in this little double box here. I love the artwork on this one. And of course, you got Herbie, he wants to be a dentist. And then you got Rudolph, you got Santa here, and Frosty. So I just love the box here. It looks pretty cool. 3 classic movies. Rudolph is definitely one of the most classic ones, I would say, out there. So definitely better watch it if you haven't checked it out. So those are all the Blu-rays except for the first one there. Now I got my DVDs here. I was like, why is this empty? I forgot I was about to watch this last night, but apparently my Xbox wasn't reading this properly. It's a DVD, of course, Jingle All the Way, so I had to watch it on Netflix. But Jingle All the Way is definitely a funny movie to watch. Arnold Schwarzenegger, so of course, Arnold and Sinbad, they are set out to hunt down for a Turbo Man doll, obviously, because Arnold is looking for it for his son, and we all know that his son is young Anakin Skywalker, so that is pretty cool how that happens. Definitely a lot of fun, though. I love this movie nonetheless, and it just, I don't know, it also kind of has a sign to the movie where it's like, you don't need what everyone has, especially like the Turbo Man doll. You just have to be grateful for who you have in your life. Like, he's got his dad, so of course at the end, like, when he's like, oh, like, I don't need the toy, I have the real Turbo Man at home. So it's like, but he obviously is rude to his dad in the movie at some point. So obviously the dad is just trying to get what the kid wants for Christmas. So that one is a good movie. I do like that one. So another one, I don't know if you guys mostly heard this one. This one I saw one day on TV and I just added it in my collection. And it is Surviving Christmas. I think this is a underrated Christmas movie. This has Ben Affleck and Christina Applegate, Catherine O'Hara, and I don't know who the other guy's name is, how to pronounce it, but basically just Ben Affleck's character is a rich guy. He pays his family to be his family for Christmas so he can impress his girlfriend because he knows, like, he doesn't really have any family, and so basically finds his old house where he grew up. He pays his family to be his fake family, but then he also falls in love with their daughter. I don't know, it's just a very interesting concept of a film, but it is funny. It has some funny points, has some kind of points in the movie where it's like, whatever, but I mean, I feel it's like a bit of an underrated movie for the holidays compared to all the main movies that are out there. And I'd say one of the main movies we have out there is A Christmas Story, because you'll shoot your eye out, kid. And this is obviously a funny go-to one to watch. Fragile must be Italian. So, of course, like, so many lines of this movie that you can pronounce. And now, I don't know if you guys know, so the kid who played Ralphie, there's a scene in Elf where he basically asks Buddy how many Etch-a-Sketchers he made. So that guy is actually this guy grown up. So that is pretty cool how that turns out. And especially if you haven't noticed too, in Christmas Vacation, the kid who plays Rusty is also from Big Bang Theory, so now you know if you didn't know. And back to when I was saying, I do have an original Christmas Carol. I believe this was the one my grandma had as well. I used to watch this at her house all the time growing up, so I figured I would have it in my collection as well. This is just a black and white old classic movie. But yeah, just like I said, different adaptation of A Christmas Carol, because there's so many of those kind of movies, and I just wanted that one in my collection. Santa Claus is Coming to Town, again, basically from this one right here that I had, but this is just a standalone copy on DVD, and of course that's the cover. So then again, it's just the same movie, nothing add to it. We have A Charlie Brown Christmas. Now this is another fan favorite of mine. I love Charlie Brown, of course. I sometimes will post like a picture of Charlie Brown as my profile picture when I used to be on social media as much. And also, I had a t-shirt back in the day that people actually considered me as Charlie Brown. So, and plus Charlie Brown is just great. I like the Christmas one, the Thanksgiving one, Halloween, Great Pumpkin one, which is the Halloween one. And there's a few other ones. I used to watch the Peanut Show sometimes too when I was little, so... And we got 2 more movies here, guys, so quite a bit of movies here. So this is one I watched with my family. My dad actually has this in his collection, and this was by Jim Henson, who also did The Muppets, so this kind of reminded me of The Muppets. This is Jim Henson's Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas. This is actually like a pretty good movie. The best part of this is I mentioned in my old collection video of my Christmas movies that we used to watch the bloopers. So there was a lot of funny segments with bloopers from this movie. It also has an appearance by Kermit the Frog. So definitely will watch this year. I don't think I watched it last year, but I'm definitely going to watch it this year sometime closer to Christmas. Okay, so I lied. I got 2 more. There was one hidden. So we got Holiday Inn, another Bing Crosby and Danny Kaye movie. So I think this, I'm not sure if this is supposed to be, oh no, so it's Bing Crosby and Fred Astaire, sorry, not Danny Kaye. So I think it's supposed to be a prequel, or might be a prequel or a sequel to White Christmas. I think it might be in the same vote. I think I've seen most of this one, but not all of White Christmas, or vice versa. I can't remember. But they're just 2 classic movies. Now, this one, technically, Daddy's Home is not really a Christmas movie, the first one. However, I consider the second one to be Christmas, so I do have it here in my pile. Daddy's Home 2. So I would say that is basically more of a Christmas movie because they get together, they celebrate Christmas, and just, if you haven't seen Daddy's Home 2, or even the first one, aside from that not being a Christmas movie, but Daddy's Home 2 is actually pretty funny. I just watched that the other night. Obviously, Mark Wahlberg, Will Ferrell, 2 of my favorite actors in a movie, especially when it comes like the other guys and stuff. And then you have John Lithgow and Mel Gibson, so definitely a great movie. So those are the physical movies I have. And with digital, when it comes to those movies, if I recall on the top of my head, I only have a couple. I do have Christmas with the Cranks, which is a great movie nonetheless as well, another Tim Allen one. And we also have Sesame Street Christmas Eve. Christmas Eve on Sesame Street. That's what it was called. I usually watch that on Christmas Eve. But of course, with having a job and stuff now, I tend to work on Christmas Eve. So sometimes I'll watch it like very early morning before I go to work or after. So those are usually movies I watch right on Christmas Eve, especially like It's a Wonderful Life. But guys, this is my collection I have for my holiday movies. If there is something else you don't see in this pile, let me know, because I can always add for next year as well. When it comes to the holidays, I love watching Christmas movies. Nonetheless, I know some people, they just watch movies once every other year. So for me, I watch them at least a few times a year. I try to watch them all when I can, but of course, and this is just something I wanted to bring today here on the channel. I was dressed for the occasion, and sorry for the lighting. I just have my window open here, like the curtain, so I just want some natural light. But it is snowy outside. We are counting the days till Christmas, counting the days until the end of 2024. I hope you well. Have a great day, my friends. And as always, my name is Dan, and remember to keep gaming on. Peace out.